how I got into the art. I just took that course and I was, again, hooked to art. I wanted to become a painter then. One day art would come in, because I could, in school, like all growing up, I was really good at art, and I knew, you know, I even went to a year of community college for commercial art. After high school, I took a year of that, but then the surfing came in and took me out of that world, because surfing, of course, I'd rather be a pro surfer, so I went on the tour and didn't pursue the art thing. But I always knew in the back of my mind that I would go there later after surfing or whatever, and so that's what I did. And so I was able to take some art classes, my first art class at the UH, a night course with a painter. A couple years ago I saw Carissa Moore out at Kaiser's in town, and she was just ripping, just like a guy. She was shredding, doing all these moves that all the guys do, and it was really neat to see it, because I haven't seen girls surf like that ever. I mean, that was one of the first times I've seen them surf that well, and I was really impressed and knew girls could do that. So that was really cool, and I was out there and I pulled off this 360 right in front of her, and she was just like, wow! Here's this old lady pulling off a 360, and here's this the newest generation just totally ripping the waves. It was just really cool. It was just neat to see her out there and see what the new generation is doing, the things that I finally see coming to fruition that I knew women surfers could go to. So it's really fun to see that. Surfing wasn't always fun. Okay, I remember the first really scary experience I had surfing was out at Makaha. I think I was in 7th grade or something. And I was my goal was to catch the biggest wave that I could. And Makaha gets really big. The point surf can sometimes get over 20 feet. And it was this one epic day that I remember they were running some big contest out at Waimea Bay that Reno Abalera won, where Waimea was breaking. It was classic Waimea. It was wrapping around to Makaha. It was point surf, epic velvety texture, offshore winds blowing the spray back, and smooth walls, and it looks so beautiful, and it looks so friendly and rideable, and I was kind of naive about the power of waves. I kind of knew a little, but I didn't know that much until this happened to me. I saw the whole horizon got blue or black because this huge set started rolling in, so I started scratching. I just had this little 6'1" surfboard. I was scratching out to get out of the way of it, to pass it, to get out beyond it, but of course it was way too big. So the first wave broke in front of me, pushed me under. I got up somehow. The second wave broke on me, pushed me under. I got up. The third wave, I barely would get up, and then the next wave would come. The third wave, I got up, pushed me under. I was already way out of breath, and I got pushed under so far, I opened my eyes. I couldn't see which wave was up. It was black everywhere, and I was already way out of breath. So I don't know how I got up, but I was panicking, which doesn't help. And somehow I ended up getting up. And by the time, it was right in the nick of time, I just went, luckily there wasn't another wave. I got pushed into the channel, and I ended up, it was lucky there wasn't another wave, because I don't know what would have happened. I was seeing stars when I got up. It was all black, these black dots. I remember it vividly. And that was my first scary experience. After that I said, I'm never going out in big waves again. That was it. I learned my lesson. Well, of course, with the lure of professional surfing, money, fame, and fortune, that changed very quickly. The day that I was in the Smirnoff event at Sunset Beach, I was biting my nails, like so scared because of that experience, but I knew I had to walk through the fear. I didn't know in those words then, but I was willing to because of all that stuff that came with it. So that was my first experience to get back into big surf, was out at Sunset Beach in that competition, and from there on I was back into it, and I did it more responsibly, got the right surfboards, gave the ocean the right respect, practiced in the waves, got in really good shape, made sure I didn't get into the impact zone. You have all these things you learn how to look at the beach and see the lineups, and I was really good at reading the ocean and reading where the waves are going to come. That's one of the things that I think when I look back I had over other people, because I'd always be in the right spot to catch the waves, and Margot had that really good too. So that's why we were always battling it out for first and second. And the other women, they kind of didn't really have that, and I think they were a bit scared. So they were good surfers, but they weren't good in the big waves. They didn't have all that other stuff that we had as a package that put us at the top. And we knew we had that over everyone, so it was so easy to beat all those other women.
When the surfing started in our family, it was almost 40 years ago, and everybody went surfing, so we went surfing. And I managed to stay up on a wave, and Lynne wanted to go along. She did, and after a couple of times, I was going along with her. I mean, she took it over, and it was wonderful. Yeah, we started at Waianae, where the waves were not small.
Yeah.
So we got the good shaped waves, and even the ones that weren't so hot, she was on.
Throughout the years, several people have asked me if I was ever worried about Lynne surfing in such big waves, and it's something I had never really thought about until that question was asked, and I never worried about her. And I think the reasons are that she did practice a lot, and she felt confident in the water, and our whole family was in the water a lot of the time. But Lynne always respected the ocean, and never acted silly or foolish in the waves. And so as she improved in her surfing and started riding bigger and bigger waves, I just never thought about it because of her past history and how she had always handled herself in the water. And as I said, until someone asked me, it never occurred to me to have worried about her, and now I think maybe I should have. But
I remember the times that it didn't take her long to get really good at it, and then she started surfing the big waves in the North Shore, and of course I didn't get out there to see her all that as often as I would have liked. But when I did go out there and saw her on those big waves where I could hardly see her on top of them, I said, wow, I mean, I guess she's going to do that for a while.
It was so thrilling to see Lynne catch a big wave and do all the maneuvers that she did so well. She truly was one of the first women to surf radically, I guess. I don't know if that's how you would say it, but do radical maneuvers and to try to surf like some of the men that she emulated. And Lynne was one of the first women. I would say that perhaps the first woman to do that, and then others started to change their style from just kind of beautiful surfing, though. The way women surf can be very beautiful because it's graceful. But kind of after Lynne changed a little bit.
So along with these times, though, came the darker side of my life. Since I was so introverted and scared of, in the water I was fine. If I was doing my sport, I just loved it. I mean, I just watch out. I was in my element, but when it came to being around people and doing interviews and being the professional side of on land kind of stuff, I was so shy, and I never learned any kind of thing in school or how to be around people or professional, do business kind of things. But it didn't stop me from surfing. That's all I needed back then to be recognized as a good surfer, was just to win competitions and surf well. In high school, I hung out with like the hippie group, and I remember they would smoke pot before school, and I would like hang in the circle and try it, but never really got high. And then the first time I remember getting high, it was so horrible. I freaked out. I couldn't handle it. It was such a terrible feeling. I got all paranoid. So from that point on, I tried to like fake taking hits just to be in. You know how that age is. And anyway, I wouldn't drink or anything because from young kid time I had this fear of throwing up. I became a germ freak. Anytime my family members got sick, I'd wash my hands and make sure I didn't get their germ. And so I knew drinking would make you throw up. I mean, that's what I heard anyway. So I tried that smoking pot, but I hated it. So then I remember going out to a nightclub one night with a family friend and her mom, and some of her family members played in the band there at this bar in Waikiki. I was about 17, and they had this drink called a tequila sunrise. And oh my God, it tasted like just like juice. So I had like 3 or 4 of them, and I felt so good. I was like, oh my God, I was the life of the party. I opened up, I blossomed, I attracted to this guy in the band who liked me. And it became the answer to my life. After that point on, alcohol was my savior in social situations. So from that point on, it became a balancing act with, the early years of drinking, which lasted maybe a couple of years. You can get away with it when you're really young and go surf the next morning and not sleep, but we used to like go to the discos and dance that night away and stay to the last call every single night. And I just became hooked really fast on alcohol too, just like surfing. I feel like I have a pretty addictive personality. But anyway, the years of the fun days of that didn't last that long, and it started interfering in my surfing because then I got attracted to this drug called cocaine. Of course, all the little bit of money I made in surfing, cocaine was expensive even back then, so a lot of the money I made went to that, and I started getting in really bad situations with that drug and drinking and driving and getting pulled over by cops. And I'm pretty fortunate that nothing bad happened, because I was in pretty many bad situations with blackouts driving, and ending up crashed in Pineapple Field one night. Some guy helped me tow my car out and took care of me till the next morning, and just these things started happening that were getting worse and worse. And my family was not supporting me anymore because they knew I was an alcoholic and a drug addict, and I couldn't surf or do anything anymore. And so at this time, though, I was still surfing before it got super bad, and I was competing and controlling it with the competitions, like making sure I didn't do it before the competitions. And the first couple of years of it, I could handle that. I remember surfing in some of them with terrific hangovers, and I'd still win. So that's why it was kind of like baffling to me. I remember saying, I'm never going to do this again because I feel so horrible after a 3-day run. For sure I'd end up doing it again, and I gave up kind of in the later, it just lasted like 6 years because my bottom came really fast. I was like 25 when I finally hit bottom. I couldn't surf anymore. I couldn't really go on tour. I looked horrible. The first time it got so bad that my parents talked me into trying AA. So I tried a couple meetings. The little bit that I did learn in the program kind of ruined any drinking fun I could ever have again, because I was already at some kind of a bottom. I know now that any kind of high was long lost. So soon I was right back into the program. And in order to move home for my parents to help me after I got kicked out of my friend's house, I had to follow certain rules, like no burping or farting around the house. And I was a pretty arrogant brat back then. It became like my life. I had to go to one meeting a day at least. And for the first 10 years of my sobriety, I did that. And that was kind of a new whole life stage for me. I never really did get back into professional surfing after that because it kind of ruined something. I just didn't have the competition spirit in me anymore. This new generation had this hot fire that I had, and I lost that. I couldn't win anymore. I just gave up. I said, you guys win. I'm out of it already. And it was painful because I couldn't do anything, so I was kind of lost in those years. That was in my late 20s and early 30s.
All right. There is no two women who have inspired me more than these two right here. All right. And you're a hot ripper, girl. Style and guts, right here. Thank you, ladies. I want to know, they didn't see this one. I know. Oh, feel a little patty? Feel that patty? Oh,
being gay was back then. But now that I've re-examined it and looked back, I can see that I did have crushes on girls, had even, more feelings about, but I didn't know what they were back then, because I didn't even know that was possible. And even if I did know that was possible, the whole people made so much fun of it, I wouldn't even go there because they put everybody down that would even think that way, that they were maybe gay, lesbian, or they made fun of fags and dykes and all that stuff. But I pursued the other way, the heterosexual route, and had a couple boyfriends, and I wasn't that into it after that. Like, it just didn't go far either way. For a lot of years, surfing actually took even that role out of my life. I didn't really pursue relationships. You know, I had a boyfriend that went on the early years of the tour with me, and he was so jealous of all the guys and all the attention I got that we ended up breaking up. So I just kept surfing and doing my life and drinking and using and partying, and actually I didn't start facing those kind of things until I got well into my sobriety and started going to therapy and, you know, seeing a psychologist. I really wanted to start dealing with that stuff to figure out what way I was, you know, what my sexuality was. And so that's where it began, is, you know, through getting sober and clean. I started going to a psychologist for that. I started to understand what that side of life was more about giving and sharing and experiencing life with another human being as their partner. The person I'm with now, Reka, is a big part of that. When I finally met her after this other relationship, I learned a lot from that, what not to do. And then with her, I learned what's good to do, how to get along with another human being, and how to love, and how to share and compromise, and all these things that it takes to be in a relationship. It's brought so much joy and so much, I don't know, just to my life is so different now. It's so much more calm and centered, and it's so nice to have someone in your life to share your most intimate thoughts and feelings with. And I value that more than anything. Okay.
I used to go to this country western, gay lesbian country western club. So I walked up to Lynne and said, "Would you like to dance?" And she says, "No." So, okay, fine. But anyway, that was the first time I ever saw Lynne. And I've been living on this island for I don't know how long at that point. And so
because I was a North Shore girl, I kind of hibernated out there.
I thought I knew all
hibernating in AA meetings and not out in the social scene.
But what was really funny was that after that, I saw her that same week, like 4 times or something. We ran into each other all the time. And then we ended up going to this party. I had a friend who had a party on that Saturday, and then for a very strange reason, Lynne showed up because she's never been there before. And that's when
we just kind of clicked.
Yeah, started
talking.
talking.
How you start talking to someone and everything is just fun and it's so easy to talk to them. That's how it was. Everything was just, we had so much in common. We just talked the whole night away. And I thought she was a Brazilian surfer girl with her wild hair, her skinny legs, her really good body, and her athletic ability on the dance floor. She was just like dancing up a storm around the dance floor. And then when I found out she wasn't Hungarian, I mean, she was Hungarian. I mean, I forgot what I said. Like, are you Norwegian or something? You got really mad.
I don't know. I don't remember that.
Or you got like, not Scandinavian, not Norwegian, Hungarian. Anyway, it was cute. And
No, you said I was Brazilian.
Well, yeah, at the beginning, but then later on, that was later on. Yeah. I don't know if I actually told you.
No,
then
you
that
never.
I thought
No,
that. Yeah.
you never did.
It just keeps getting better and better. It's about what, 14 years now?
Yeah, it's 14 years.
Yeah, and every year it gets better.
So we have this so-called reciprocal beneficiary thing.
Reciprocal beneficiaries.
Yeah,
which isn't much.
Yeah, it gives like maybe 5.
People think, oh, we're married because we
Yeah.
have this reciprocal beneficiaries thing that we signed up for, but you hardly get any rights for it. It's not even anywhere
You don't get anything.
near equal rights.
They're not supposed to kick you out of the hospital if one of us like dying or something. Then if you come in and waive the paper, they legally have to let you go in, even though you're not family member. But that's about it. It doesn't have much else. I mean, at this point, I still can't even. Lynne's working for herself, and I'm working for the government, and I can't get her on my medical. And she has to pay. Like,
self-employment medical is pretty expensive.
yeah, it's very expensive. And so, like, yeah, it's just it's just very frustrating. Let's put it that way. oceanographer. I work for NOAA, that's the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. And I'm looking at how physical processes affect organisms that we're interested in and care for especially for our living resources like economically important fish like tuna. So I'm looking at all the environmental effects on the population and biomass and movement patterns and so forth of organisms like that. And I find it really interesting. I have a cruise once a year. I go out and I study different regions, go down to Samoa or go to the Hawaiian archipelago somewhere, or just anywhere in the Pacific, basically. And so I have a few projects going on. I don't know what else to say. That's about it. I have to say, though, that I can't legally speak in the name of NOAA. I'm speaking as a person, so I'm not representing NOAA here in any way. But I really like working. I really like doing research. It's always interesting because you're basically learning something all the time. It's always something new.
Just like art.
Yeah. That's
We're a good match. A scientist and an artist.
But I used to be an artist too. Well, I did. I was when I was in elementary school. I got all these. I got some in competitions or whatever paintings. I won these little, I don't know, school things, and I remember my.
You went to school too, an art school?
Yeah, and I went to an art school in high school. There was an art school where we did a lot of drawing, painting, and all those kind of different kind of paints. And I was pretty good at it, so I don't know. And then I went to photographer school, so I was a photographer for a long time too.
And
then a model and
actor.
Yeah. Well, so I had a very various background. I even went to stunt school. I did stunts for movies, and I just, I don't know. So I don't know what happened. It was like a total different direction, and then all of a sudden I got into
science.
Science. So yeah.
That's why you married an artist.
Yeah. That's why we're a good match.
Since you can't be an artist. I mean, you chose the other side of your brain. You have both sides, obviously. I have the right side. She's got the right and the left. Right?
Right. No, left.
Right. No. Getting into the marine life art, the realism, painting all the underwater scenes. And then I found this plein air style of painting. I was attracted to that, and now that's what I'm really into because it's a whole nother way of painting. It's a lot freer, more gestural. Can be more relaxing, but it can be very intense too, because when you're out there, you're trying to capture the light, because the light is what changes so quick, so you have to really learn how to get quick with your technique. And so it's challenging. So it's not always the most relaxing thing that people think it is. It becomes very intense sometimes. But there are these rare times when you get in this flow, like you're always, if you're very warmed up, like on a good surf day, for instance, every wave is right, every turn is right, every paint stroke hits the canvas right. You see everything, the colors, the tones, the values. You just mix it all right, and you put the paint on, and the painting comes out with hardly any effort. It's like something's working through you to do this painting, and that happens every now and then. But you need to be very warmed up, as a good surfer or a sports person. You always have to be working hard to have those moments or those times, because it doesn't just happen out of the blue. So anyway, those are the moments I really love when I'm doing a painting like that. It comes out with hardly any effort.